Bama Church of Christ, this is Michael Montalvo. I'm the Body Life Minister, and I have a devotional thought that I would like to share with you. It's coming out of John 11. And just setting the stage, Jesus has heard the news. He has received the news that his dear friend Lazarus has passed away. And he intentionally decides to wait in the Judean countryside for 4 days until making his way back to Bethany to come alongside Martha and Mary. And so this has led to some confusion with his inner circle. The 12 are wondering why Jesus has made this decision to wait 4 days. After all, they've done life together with Lazarus, Mary, and Martha. They've had a life group in his home. They've shared meals, they've rested, they've reflected on the ministry that they've done together. And so together they're just confused, and they don't understand the majesty and the glory that's going to happen when Jesus resurrects Lazarus from the grave. So in a way, they make their way back to Bethany, and Martha receives the news that Jesus is coming into Bethany, and she goes out to meet her Lord, but Mary stays behind. Why do you think Mary stayed behind? I mean, she was devastated by her brother's death, but I think what compounded her grief is that she knew deep in her heart that Jesus had the power to heal her brother, and yet he waited. Have you ever been unconsolable by grief that was compounded by disillusionment? If so, what did that grief look like? The passing of a spouse after a long fight with cancer? Perhaps it was a miscarriage or bankruptcy, or a car accident that took the life of your child. Was it the loss of a job that you truly loved? Perhaps a crushing divorce, or substance abuse that plagues your family like a nightmare that won't go away. All right, let's pivot back to the story. When Mary finally reaches Jesus, she falls at his feet and says, "Lord, if you'd been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus sees her weeping and the Jews who had come along with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit. "Where have you laid him?" "Come and see, Lord," they replied. And then John records one of the most impactful verses in all of Scripture. Jesus wept. So what can we learn from this passage? What are some of the takeaways? When a person you trust comes alongside us, comes alongside you with tears and sits in silence, there's something that is communicated that needs no translation. Having said that, there are words that are comforting. I'm in this with you. I love you. I won't let go of you. So what have you personally found to be helpful during a season of pronounced grief in your life? I've witnessed some beautiful acts of pastoral care from this church body over the years. You've consistently stepped up to meet tangible needs of those who have suffered the loss of a loved one. You've prepared home-cooked meals. You've run errands and taken care of household chores. Again and again, you've extended the love of Christ in ways that have brought comfort and peace. One of the ways that we can continue to grow as we come alongside people when they experience grief is active listening. We talked about that a few weeks ago. The last thing we want to do is to make our journey with grief the center of attention. Rather, we are called to dwell with others by sitting in their grief. Listen, church family, learning to dwell with others by sitting in their grief is a spiritual discipline. It goes without saying that COVID has made it challenging to come alongside others who have suffered losses, especially the loss of a loved one. But there are still tangible ways that we can come alongside our friends at BAML. We can order groceries. We can bring takeout. We can run errands. We can listen without talking. We can weep with those who weep and mourn with those who mourn. We can be fully present after the funeral is over. By doing this, we can point people to Jesus, the one who mourns with those who mourn, and weeps with those who weep. Bamel Church, may God guide you and comfort you as you come alongside those who are experiencing profound grief.